Welcome everyone, this is Zozo Stockwatch, and this is your Stockwatch list for Thursday, September 7th. So let's go ahead and let's look at some earnings that came out after the bell. This VRNT, here's the daily, closed at 39.45, currently trading after earnings up at 41.70, and VRNT, they beat by 14 cents and they beat on revenues. And then we had SKIS, they came out with earnings, and they also, let's see, SKIS missed by 9 cents and beat on revenues. MTRX in line on earnings per share, but they beat on revenues. MTRX, KFY, this stock came in at beats by 2 cents and beat on revenues on KFY. SEAC, this one missed, SEAC beat by 3 cents, missed on revenue. So they beat by 3 cents and missed on revenue. The big winner after hours though is this Red Hat, and Red Hat, they just crushed the numbers. This stock had 40% short percentage in it. They beat by 18 cents and they beat on revenues for Red Hat. And you see the stock here, they closed at 49.42, and the stock is trading, well, it got up to $70 a share and it's currently trading at 66.90. So an amazing earnings report there, and just crushed the shorts in that name, and then buyers came in. So that was Red Hat, and that's the reaction after hours. And looking to see if there's any other earnings. Guidewire came out with earnings, GWRE, and you see that stock was down after their earnings. They beat by 20 cents and beat on revenue. YEXT, they beat by a penny and they beat on revenue, and that stock didn't do much after hours on YEXT, excuse me. NCS also had earnings, and you see that one dropped. They missed by 5 cents and they missed on revenue for NCS. Next up, we'll take a look at, see if there's any other earnings. This small little company, EGAN, they had earnings after the bell, and they beat by 10 cents and they beat on revenues for EGAN. And that's software application. And I think that's it for the earnings that were after the bell, but I'm going to scroll through and see if I see anything else as far as the earnings, and I do believe that is about it. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the action in the as far as top insider purchases. PSEC CFO purchased 50K, COTY, a couple of purchases there in that name, 120K in COTY. US Steel Director purchased 4K. So we'll go ahead and take a look at X, see if it did anything in after hours. Not much. COTY did pop a little bit on those insider purchases on COTY. And then in some syndicate news after hours, AM secondary offering, BLDR secondary offering, EHIC filed form F3, KEM secondary offering, NEP announces offering 300 million, and NNN prices offering 400 million. 3.50% senior unsecured notes due in 2027. So that's some news that came out as far as top insider purchases and syndicate news. So we'll get that out of our way. Next up, let's go ahead and we'll take a look at some stuff for tomorrow. So for some earnings before the bell tomorrow for September 7th, Thursday, BKS, CONN, that's a retailer, FCEL, HOV, Hovnanian, MBUU. After the bell, we have AOBC. That used to be the old Smith & Wesson, that AOBC. Now it's American Outdoor Brands. So they'll be after the bell. CCUR, FNSR, PAY, RDFN. That's a recent IPO. SAIC, SIGM, TLRD, and ZUMZ. So those will be some of the names reporting after the bell and before the bell for tomorrow. As far as the economic information for tomorrow, we have at 8:30 initial jobless claims. I don't see anything for the overnight session for as far as Asia goes. So for tomorrow, like we said, 8:30, we have the initial jobless claims. 10 o'clock, quarterly services survey. 10:30, nat gas numbers come out. 11 o'clock, we have the oil numbers coming out for tomorrow. And let's see if there's anything else. We have some Fed speak tomorrow. Loretta Mester, Fed speak Raphael Bosick, and Fed speak William Dudley, and Fed speak at 8:15 Esther George. And then we have 10 p.m. China merchant trade balance, and Japan has their GDP coming out at 10 minutes to 8 Eastern time tomorrow. So that's just some of your economic information. As far as your earnings calls for Thursday, and I'll go ahead and click the Thursday. Sorry about that. You see the earnings calls in the 8 o'clock hour. Then we have earnings calls throughout the day. BKS is at 10 o'clock. FCEL is at 10 o'clock with their earnings conference call. CON is at 11. SKIS is at 11. Hovanian is at 11 o'clock a.m. And let's see if there's anybody else. As far as in the afternoon, there's pay of Verifone at 4:30. Anybody else big? Finisar is at 5 o'clock. AOBC, that'll be at 5 o'clock also. And CCUR at 5 o'clock. SIGM at 5 o'clock, and ZUMZ at 5 o'clock. So there's your conference calls from earningscast.com, and you can check that out. As far as some of your bigger winners today, we had ZAIS, VRTM, VYGR. Fred's was up on earnings. SRPT, I think they got an approval, and that popped big today. EFII, ARGS, QUIK, LDAR, LDR, and GIII, retailer. For your top losers, Trivago got hit today. PULM was a big runner the other day, and then it lost it today, down almost 15%. PYDS, PLY after their earnings report. Home after their earnings was down today. RXDX, KEM, SPKE, SPGL, AVDL, and lastly MKTX were all the losers for the day. As far as some option activity, we had unusual call activity in Amgen, Archer Daniel Midlands, APRN, Blue Apron, EROS, LITE, Light, MU, Micron Technologies, NRG, SFM, and in the VIX itself. Unusual put activities, CNP, JP Morgan, Oracle, ORCL, RBS, and WDC. So unusual put activity in those names. Remember, puts are bearish, calls are bullish. So we had those listed there from courtesy of the trade exchange. Okay, before we get into the watch list, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the action in the markets today. And the SPY was up about 0.34% for the day, so kind of a lackluster day. You know, after that jam down to the 50 SMA, then the buyers came in. So I guess you could say, you know, the bulls held serve for today. And they held us above the 5 EMA and above the fast moving averages on the daily chart here. So now we have like a range on the SPY. So let's go ahead and take a look at some numbers here. For the high today, we had a high of 247.28 and the low was 246.23. So, you know, bears want to take out that 246.20 area, and bulls want to get us back over, you know, 247.50. So we'll watch that action tomorrow in the SPY. And then, of course, we have to watch this 245 area on the SPY here where we hit the 50 SMA. Let's go ahead and check the futures for you while I'm thinking about it. And so far the futures are trading down this evening. It's about 7:30ish my time. So the Dow futures are down 26, the S&P futures are down about 4, and the NASDAQ futures are down about 10. And I would assume that gold is going to be up. And we'll take a quick look at some of the commodities real fast. Actually, gold is not doing much right now. It's down about 62 cents on gold. So that's the commodities that we're interested for the overnight session. So futures are down right now, as we said. And then here's your SPY. We're up today, and then we pretty much gave it all back on the SPY. There's your action in the SPY, up, and then we moved it, right back down into the close. So we gave away, most of the gains. In the Dow Jones 30. Okay, we're up about 50 points. I think at one point we were up 80, 90 points on the Dow. So you see we're still below this 20 SMA on the Dow. We're still below the 21,900 on the Dow. We've tested the 50 quite a few times and held, but we may come down and retest this 50 SMA again. So just be aware of that. And I'm just seeing news in THAAD launchers arrive at military base in South Korea. So that news just came in. So THAAD, I guess it's called, THAAD launchers arrive at military base in South Korea. And that news just came out. So that's what I was reading. And so that's probably why the futures are down this evening. Let's go ahead and we'll check the SPY again. So not much going on right now. All right, sorry for the distraction. So next one we'll look at is we looked at the Dow IWM. This one, we popped up. We're still struggling with the 50 SMA here. Nice recovery by the bulls, and now that's just retesting this 140 spot. Needs to get over that for a continuation move in the IWM. But you could, you would assume there'd be some consolidation now at the 50 after this nice bounce up where the bulls came in and protected this 134, and you see how important that number was here. And then up on top we have a 143 number that we'll have to watch. But currently we're watching about that 140 and then 141 for the IWM. IWC is the micro caps, and this is doing the same thing. After that nice bounce off about 83.50, we've bounced up to the 50 SMA, and now we're trying to break out over this 88 spot. Then after that we have a 90 in the way. SMH, still in this consolidation. We broke out of this consolidation, but we're still under this $90 spot on the SMH. So nothing much changed there. USO, we popped, gapped up yesterday. We got a little bit of a follow through, but you see these candles aren't very, they're kind of indecisive candles, I should say. Okay, they're not strong candles. Okay. There's buyers and sellers are met here, and then we meet in the middle. So these are indecisive candles on the USO XOIL. This one looks a little bit better, the actual oil play. This is WTI oil, and that's closing up above 49. So the big test is going to be that big round number up there, that $50 area. So we'll see what they want to do at that 50 area. Then after that, we get up to maybe 55 or so. So we'll keep an eye on oil and oil plays. Next up, we will look at the XLF, which was not too strong today. And you see this candle not doing much, just hanging around the 150 SMA today. A lot of indecision in the XLF and in such names as JP Morgan, Citigroup, BAC. And then in the regionals we had Zion, so that one is below the 200 SMA currently. KRE is the ETF for the regional banks, and that is down near, breaking these lows here. So that's not good for the regional banks. IYT, the transports, a little bit of a bounce, holding above the 200 SMA. Some of the airlines did get a bounce off the lows today. So you see American Airlines held this 4250 area a couple of times. So keep your eye on that. Delta Airlines, this was down and then popped back up. So, buyers finally, found a price that they like here on DAL. So 44 seems to have held for now. So you might want to watch some of these for a continuation move. UAL didn't fare as well today. JetBlue, let's check that. Didn't fare as well. LUV. They bounced off of the 300 SMA on the LUV Southwest Airlines, so maybe a continuation move in that name after this bounce. Save, another airline. I see this hammer candle here, but we have to see if it gives a confirmation and takes out the highs of this candle. So you have a $30 buyers came in, and now let's see if they want to continue up over this candle of 32.56-ish area. All right, and we closed 32.09. So I'm just going through some of the airlines. It's not the watch list yet, just to give you a little color for the market and what's going on. So the bulls came back. There's hurricanes everywhere. There's hurricane, we had Hurricane Harvey. We have Hurricane Irma bearing down on Puerto Rico, I think, right now, and maybe headed towards Florida, or is it going to take a turn and maybe hit the Carolinas? We're not sure yet. Then I think there's a Hurricane Jose in Gulf of Mexico. So that's another one that's brewing, another hurricane. So a lot of hurricanes out there, and we'll have to see what's going to happen as we get closer to Friday and the weekend, what the computers forecast for these hurricanes. All right, so I'm going to be right back with stocks to watch and your stocks to watch list. Okay, so I got one of my hurricanes wrong, guys. We have Katia in the Gulf of Mexico. We have Jose following Irma, and Irma is the one that's the big one right now. Then Jose is behind that one, and then Katia is in the Gulf of Mexico right here. So I just wanted to clear that up, so I got my hurricanes correct. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the watch list. ADM. Because I had that unusual options activity, this one could get interesting. Almost 4 million shares traded. You see the support here at 41. Now this would be more of a swing trade, trying to get up over that 42.50 spot on Archer Daniels Midland. So keep an eye on that one. And let's see, next one up is ADOM, a recent IPO. This one is basing under these recent highs of about the 1350-ish area. We're at 13 now. The high today was 1305. So I'm going to keep my eye on this one. It's auto parts, so that might be big, I guess, with Hurricane Harvey and all the cars that need to be fixed and whatnot. So ADOM. We'll see if this one can get a play in this one intraday on that auto parts maker. ALDR. This one had a pop in the after hours, and you see it closed here. It's an ugly chart, but it was getting some buying in the after hours, so I'll put it on a chart, see if there's any kind of continuation move in that. APRN, this is that Blue Apron IPO, and you see it's been straight down. Well, today they perked it up and they got it above the 5, the 10, and the 20. The high today was a 562, then it sold off. 3.2 million shares. Maybe this is turning the corner. I mean, it's been beaten down so much from about 11 bucks down to about 550. So we'll see if there's any kind of continuation move in this Blue Apron. AUPH, very nice candle close today. trying to get over this 100 SMA, 659. So the high was 660. So maybe 665 is enough to get this AUPH going. 1.2 million shares traded. Boyd Gaming, we talked about this in previous videos. Now it's starting to get back above the 5 EMA. Looking for it to take out the highs. This is not a fast mover, at least it hasn't been as of yet. So 26.75 for a possible swing trade on this Boyd BYD. So that one looks interesting. CATB, nice pop today. Looking for this one to maybe make a continuation move over, we'll call it $1.55. To see if this one can get a move. Almost a million shares traded, CATB, but as you see, it's like a beaten down stock. Maybe they want to, fill this gap down a little bit. Not a favorite, but we'll see. Etsy, hanging in there tough, hanging around this 1670 area, I think this is. So yeah, 1669. So if it can get over 1670, 1675, you might get a nice continuation move in Etsy. All right, it's bounced back nice. This was the gap up after the earnings, and maybe we'll get a continuation move. Facebook, after it held this support here, turning up and looking very handsome as a chart, 172.48, so 172.50-ish area. And then we have a little bit of resistance here at 172.92, so we'll call it 173. So Facebook should be on your watch tomorrow if you like to play some of the bigger names. FRED, they came out with earnings today. Nice pop, 5 million shares. There's probably some shorts trapped in this, so we'll see if they want to, recover and bail out of this maybe over, 685-ish. Or so for that break of 7 on Fred. HIMX has had a big run and starting to pull back a little bit. I want to see if this pulls back maybe to the 1080 area, 1090 area on HIMX, and see if maybe we can get an entry on this name. I would like 1050 even better. So we'll see. There was a lot of call action in this name, options activity. INO, this one was upgraded by Citigroup. They gave it a price target of 10, 1.8 million shares traded. It did pop, closed at 5.99. The high was 6.18. So if we can get back over, that 6 number, INO might be interesting. L Brands, okay, apparel stores, starting to turn the corner maybe here. It's held this 36 spot for a while, and let's see if we can get maybe over 37.55-ish, and maybe a continuation through the highs, or you can wait for the high to be taken out, 37.75 spot for L Brands, Victoria's Secret. Macy's, this was a miss by me today. I was watching this and it gapped up right from the get-go. I didn't want to chase it. I was waiting for a pullback, and as you can see by this candle, there just was no pullback. So I'll see if there's any kind of setup on Macy's. Maybe the retailers are going to start getting bought into the Christmas season. I mean, they've been hit so hard. So Macy's will be on watch again. MBRX, basing below this 275 spot on MBRX. So let's see if they want to do anything with that tomorrow. NAO is a shipper we've talked about. You see the nice pop again over this, off of the 5 EMA. So, looking for maybe a pullback and then up through that 150 spot. POT, nice pop in the name, 4 million shares traded. 1775 is the area of resistance here, so we'll see if it can break out through that. IPI in the fertilizer space was looking good. It's still, above the 20 SMA, so IPI is another one you might want to watch also. Rice, full disclosure, I'm already in this one, but we're starting to, turn back up here. We'll see if we can get through that 27.75 spot on Rice. It's an oil name. 4 million shares traded. So it's looking okay, but I wish, we'd get a little more volume and powerful candles here. RUN, nice pop today. This one over 717 might give a continuation move on RUN. SCON, this one curling up and it's at that 111 spot, 112 spot. So we'll see how this sets up on an intraday. This is a really, not a great trading stock, but I noticed it is turning up. Volume was still on the light side, but this candle caught my eye today. SCYX, talked about this one in the room. I had mentioned it over 205. It did do that, and then it went up to 213 and pulled back. So we'll see if there's any type of continuation move in that name. Excuse me. SGMS. This one is holding above the fast moving averages, and this is another one in the gambling sector. It's holding up there. It would have to get up over like 36 to get interesting. Right now it's just kind of in limbo. SQ. Nice candle here. I'm looking for this to take out maybe 26.25 for a possible continuation move. PYPL, let's check out PayPal, is hanging out near the high. So SQ, maybe that one wants to get going. It is holding above the 50 SMA, 6.5 million shares. So over this 26.25, STRL, this is one of those names, hurricane type of name. It did finally get over 13, so I'm looking for some kind of setup on this. It's a very slow trader. You'd have to swing trade this. It's not a good intraday trader. As far as Twillo, TWLO, it looks like if it can break 30, we had a high today of 30.19, so maybe 30.10 will be enough on this name to get it going again. Let me just check out NTNX real fast. This one popped up also today, but it's a kind of a sloppy chart. So I like TWLO a little bit better. It's been basing this 100 SMA and starting to turn back up and getting back above the 50 SMA. Twitter is hanging around this 200 SMA and below 17. So I like that one if it can get over that 200 SMA. Snap. This one is also kind of setting up. You see it's holding this 14 and the 20 SMA. Would have to get back over maybe like $14.80, $15 on Snap. WLH, this is a residential construction name. And looking for the 24 break on WLH. More of a swing trade type of name. So if it can get over 24, you might get a nice entry and a move in WLH. Yelp, we've been talking about this one forever. I'm waiting for this candle to get taken out. 43.50. If you want to try it a little bit earlier, maybe over 43.25 on YELP, but you see the flag here. You see it's coming out of consolidation. It's holding above the fast moving averages. Lastly, ZAIS, big pop in this name. We'll see how it sets up intraday. 5 million shares came into the name on ZAIS, so see if there's any kind of a setup on ZAIS on a 5-minute or 2-minute chart. So that's it for the watch list. A lot of hurricanes out there. Everybody be careful if you're in the target of the Irma down there in Florida. Batten down the hatches and evacuate if you're told to evacuate. It's not worth your your life for a few possessions. So that's all I have for tonight. We went over the unusual call activity. We went over the news after the bell, the earnings, Red Hat, just a monster after the bell, RH. If you want to come join me and trade with me, I'm at zozostockwatch.com. I'll put the link if you'd like to join me in my trading chat room. We're right now running a discount, 20% off. Also, hit the subscribe button for me for YouTube for the information I'm giving you. A lot of people love these videos. They're telling me, getting a lot of good feedback. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. Retweet them. That would be great. And thank you so much for listening, and thank you for your support, YouTubers on YouTube.